We're 8 years old. We've just finished our after-school snack of Cheez-Its and milk, and it's time to play our favorite video game, Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Nintendo Wii. This game feels like a miracle. It's got all the best guys from all the best games, and they beat the shit out of each other. We've spent countless hours goofing off in Brawl mode, but today we're about to stumble upon something that will blow our young minds. The Subspace Emissary is an epic adventure with over 100 cutscenes, and despite being a clear labor of love with the co-op mode, it's hidden behind the solo tab. This story is something special, and 14 years later, it's coated in a veneer of nostalgia so thick that we'll never experience anything like it again. The opening cutscene pans down to Midair Stadium, where Zelda and Peach spectate a friendly battle between Mario and Kirby. We play as Kirby, because he's cute, and we kick Mario's ass. Immediately after, we see that Pit has watched the battle from a basin on Skyworld. Kirby, ever the gentle puffball, revives Mario, and the crowd cheers until the halberd creeps over the horizon. It unleashes purple shadow bugs that materialize into primids. This is the introduction of the Subspace Army, an evil force that wants to drag our world into a different dimension. Zelda and Peach join the fray to help us beat up these goopy guys. Our efforts are for naught, though, as the Ancient Minister appears and deploys a subspace bomb. Two Robs activate it, and as Mario rushes forward to stop them, he's smashed by a cannonball. The princesses are captured by Petey Piranha, seems Zelda has forgotten she can teleport, and as Kirby, we defeat the first boss of the game. From here, the story diverges based on which princess's cage you break first. We free Peach, and Wario jumps onto the scene with a dark cannon. This overpowered piece of tech blasts Zelda with a black arrow, turning her into a trophy. There's no time to save her. A bomb erupts, sucking the arena into subspace as Kirby and Peach escape on a warp star. This is the coolest thing we've ever seen, and these 10 minutes of gameplay have made us Nintendo fans for life. As Pit watches the devastation from the subspace bomb, Palutena materializes and equips him with her bow so that he can go fight the Subspace Army. Because we're 8 years old and the last Kid Icarus game came out in 1991, we assume Palutena is Pit's mom. And I don't know if we're wrong. Pit descends through the clouds, catching up with the halberd, which is still dusting the world with shadow bugs. We battle through waves of primids until Pit finds Mario's trophy. They team up to go fight the Subspace Army. This feels a little like Sakurai shipping his favorite character with Nintendo's mascot, but we don't think this at the time because we're 8 and don't know anything about anything. The duo continue to chase the halberd, realizing they're not alone in their pursuit as an R-Wing soars after it. The halberd catches up to Kirby and Peach on their warp star, and we walk left to right across the ship. This level could have been an email. The halberd shoots down the R-Wing, knocking Kirby and Peach to the earth below. This takes us to a nearby jungle where Donkey Kong pursues a cartload of bananas. He's threatened by some bullet bills, but they're destroyed by Diddy Kong. The apes, actually they can't be apes because Diddy has a tail. But they can't be monkeys because Donkey Kong doesn't have a tail. The non-human primates pursue their bananas. This level is full of classic Mario enemies, which is a trick I wish the Subspace Emissary was able to pull a little more. We fight a lot of subspace enemies, but it'd be cool to see more goons from the original franchises. The non-human primates find their horde, but are interrupted by Bowser, who just like Wario wields a dark cannon. DK smashes Diddy to save his nephew and gets turned into a trophy. We're back to playing as Mario and Pit, who have made their way to the ground in their pursuit of the halberd. This trumpet-headed enemy, called Warbrass, is the first of many that has no right to be as creepy as it is. In fact, I think a lot of these guys inform our adulthood aversion to body horror. Mario and Pit catch up to the Ancient Minister, but are unable to reach him, which means this whole section was kind of filler. We're not really tapped into that though, this shit's still blowing our minds. Diddy Kong races through the jungle, fresh off his uncle's sacrifice, where he runs into the crashed R-Wing. He's attacked by fucking Rayquaza and saved by Fox. We're big Pokemon kids, so we take some issue with a godlike creature hanging out in a random lake, but we're not too miffed because we get to fight fucking Rayquaza. Diddy explains the situation to Fox, who he cajoles into helping him. The duo fights Bowser, who's revealed to be made of shadow bugs. The real Bowser gets to blasting with his dark cannon, but Fox and Diddy successfully abscond. Being idiot children, we are unfamiliar with Earthbound or Mother 3, so this next stage is just about the scariest shit we've ever seen. Lucas, a devil child with soulless eyes, wanders through a ruined zoo and is accosted by primids and a walking statue. We feel genuine fear for the first time in our young lives as we flee from this man-made horror. Lucas falls and is trapped by a... I actually don't know what that is, or how Lucas fell such that he is trapped beneath it, but he's saved by fellow devil child Ness, who explodes the statue and reveals an even scarier thing. We swallow our fears and defeat Porky, which is made marginally easier by his silly name. We're not out of the woods yet though, as Wario shows up and starts blasting with his dark cannon. Ness is too evasive, but when he targets Lucas, Ness has to sacrifice himself. The Subspace Emissary pulls this trick of having one character sacrifice themselves to save another a bunch of times, but it always pulls at our little heartstrings. Lucas flees and bumps into Pokemon Trainer, who uses his Squirtle to battle through a wave of Primids. These Flu are another enemy that have no business being as scary as they are. The enemies defeated, Pokemon Trainer is prepared to part ways with Lucas, but the Devil Child summons his courage and together they go off looking for Ness. On a battlefield, 2 Robs deploy another Subspace Bomb, expressing clear remorse for their actions. This is observed by Marth, whose gender identity we never quite figure out. The Ancient Minister leads the Subspace Army to our fortress and we fight out onto the battlefield. There, Marth clashes blades with Meta Knight, but the 2 Swords people realize they share a common enemy in the Subspace Army. The Ancient Minister, carrying yet another Subspace Bomb, evades Marth and Meta Knight, but with a cry of "Great Aether!" a 3rd Swords person slices the bomb in twain. Ike joins the crew and we battle through more of the Subspace Army. The stage ends by introducing Luigi, who's frightened by a Waddle Dee and smashed by King Dedede. Wario finds his trophy, but Dedede gives him the runabout and escapes with his collection and his cart. Instead of retrieving the Master Sword at an emotionally significant point in his quest, Link is introduced by stumbling upon it in a forest. A little later, he's joined by Yoshi as the halberd disperses more shadow bugs. We battle some enemies and this odd couple chases the halberd. Aboard the ship, a mysterious box moves slightly. This means nothing to us because we're 8 years old and our mother doesn't let us play games with guns. Zero Suit Samus breaks into a research facility. You comment on her features in a way that a child unfamiliar with 4th wave feminism might do. I wonder for the first time if it's possible to not be attracted to women. We fight a bunch of Robs and discover a room where Pikachu is being used as a battery. Together we fight a bunch more Robs. At the end of the stage, Samus sees her power suit on a monitor. Kirby spies something in the distance and runs off, leaving Peach to get blasted by Bowser. Shadow bugs create a false Peach who tries to blast Pit and Mario as they run by. Link saves them though, and together with Yoshi, they defeat the false Peach. This is not a good look for them though, as a confused Mario attacks. The battle ends with Pit and Mario getting smashed into trophies, which are snagged by Dedede on Wario's cart. But Sakurai's other favorite character is here to save the day. Kirby frees Mario and Pit, who damages the cart, and they give chase accompanied by Link and Yoshi. Lot of chasing in the Subspace Emissary. We follow Dedede to a cave that leads to his castle, behind which the halberd looms. At the end of the level, Bowser receives directions to the castle from Ganondorf. There's world-ending shit going down, but Pokemon Trainer is still on a quest to be the best like no one ever was. He and Lucas track a Charizard down to some ruins. There, they battle Wario, who they're able to defeat now that he's lost his Dark Cannon. Lucas is disappointed to not find Ness's trophy, but Pokemon Trainer's got a Charizard to catch. King Dedede tends to his trophy collection of Luigi, Ness, and Zelda. He gives each of them a badge, which will be important later, so lodge that somewhere in your prepubescent brain. The silly penguin is knocked out by some rubble as Bowser invades his castle and snatches Zelda's trophy. Yoshi, Pit, Link, Mario, and Kirby find this destruction and chase Bowser through a hole in the wall. In a cliffside battle, Zelda's Dedede badge is lost, and Bowser absconds in the Koopa Clown car. The level ends as the Ancient Minister deploys another Subspace Bomb. Ganondorf receives directions from the Master Hand, but his sly smile implies he's got a scheme of his own cooking up. Pokemon Trainer unceremoniously catches Ivysaur, who just happens to be in trophy form in these ruins, which is kind of par for the course for Bulbasaur's treatment. The level continues and we fight Charizard, who at least gets the respect of a proper battle before being captured. Lucas and Pokemon Trainer enter an ominous room and we jump over to Marth, Meta Knight, and Ike. The Swords people watch a tank barrel across the wilds and pursue it. We're too young to appreciate the subtle characterization of this scene, but it's better than it has any right to be. The tank reconfigures into a purple rhino called Gallium, who we defeat and knock into the hall where we left Lucas and Pokemon Trainer. We defeat him again, and he reveals a Subspace Bomb in his head and rockets into the sky. Lucas finally does something useful, and Meta Knight swoops in to save the duo from destruction. Wario's trophy isn't so lucky though. The Ancient Minister watches as this new eruption grows and feels remorseful for the Robs who have been lost. Mario, Pit, Link, Yoshi, and Kirby continue to chase him until he deploys another Subspace Bomb. Despite the Minister's expressionless face, we can tell the wanton destruction is getting to him. Our heroes flee and we hop over to play as Diddy Kong and Fox. Diddy is sniped by Bowser's Dark Cannon and Shadow Bugs create a false Diddy. Suddenly another Arwing swoops in and Falco destroys Bowser's Dark Cannon. The Koopa King flees again as the Shadow Bugs coalesce into a giant Diddy and Fox revives his friend. Despite Falco and Fox being a little beyond our skill level as characters, we defeat the big Diddy, and our Diddy convinces Falco to join the cause. The trio finds Donkey Kong's trophy approaching the Isle of Ancients on a floating platform. They can't reach him, but the Great Fox appears out of nowhere, allowing them to pursue. In the research facility, which we now know is on the Isle of Ancients, Samus and Pikachu battle their way to her power suit. Shadow Bugs attack, and once they're defeated, Samus finally suits up. But as Pikachu and Samus flee the facility, Ridley attacks. We don't know what a Ridley is, so we are extra gagged by the appearance of this muscular dinosaur and the extent to which he fucks Samus' shit up. We defeat Ridley, who's honestly not all that big, and emerge from the facility. Pikmin swarm an inert Rob. It obliterates them, leaving Olimar defenseless. But the Blue Falcon races to the rescue as Captain Falcon defeats the Rob with a trademark Falcon Punch. He also dusts a bunch more Pikmin. Olimar and Captain Falcon kind of show up on the Isle of Ancients out of nowhere, but our disbelief is already suspended from the rafters at this point. This dynamic duo watches Diddy and Falco stage a rescue mission of DK's trophy and dive in to help out. We battle waves of enemies as this eclectic foursome. The platform floats back to the Isle of Ancients as the stage ends. Below the island, the Great Fox battles the Halberd, watched by Lucas Pokemon Trainer and the Swords People. Meta Knight soars up the mountain to reclaim the ship, meeting the Ice Climbers. These guys are the epitome of shoehorned in, but we had no idea who they are, so it doesn't bother us much. At the summit, we battle Lucario to prove our worthiness or something. He joins the team once Meta Knight kicks his ass. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl have been our hyperfixations for the past 2 years, so we argue before every level from here on out over who gets to play Lucario. The Halberd has bested the Great Fox, but Meta Knight and Lucario are able to board the ship, while the Ice Climbers become the Ice Fallers. They land by Pokemon Trainer Lucas and the Fire Emblem Weebs, who are now joined by Mario, Pit, Kirby, Link, and Yoshi. Aboard the Halberd, Snake finally exits his box and delivers a line of dialogue that is terribly mixed. He's discovered by Lucario, who senses his aura and decides they should be friends. Don't know why he couldn't do that for Meta Knight. Peach and Zelda's trophies are being held aboard the ship, where Shadowbugs make yet another fake Peach and a fake Zelda. We beat them up and restore Zelda and Peach. Snake's internalized misogyny takes over and he tells the princesses to stay behind. These girl bosses aren't going to let a man minimize their slay though, as Zelda transforms into Sheik and they battle their way to the top of the ship. Fox fires on the Halberd, accidentally targeting Peach. Sheik takes out the R-Wing and the two begin to brawl, but Peach diffuses the situation with some tea. I love how tiny Fox is. He's a real short king, like a plushie that demands to be taken seriously. Still exploring the ship, Snake, Meta Knight, and Lucario find it to be piloted by a bunch of 2D blinky guys. They reform into a Duon and the two groups defeat it with the help of Falco. The Shadowbugs disperse, leaving behind a trophy of Mr. Game & Watch. He's actually one of the only fighters that doesn't get a title card. I had to make this one myself. Samus and Pikachu flee the research facility. There's real chemistry between these two and we ship it. Samus and Pikachu bust into the Subspace Bomb factory where the ancient minister stands before a legion of Robs. We jump to another level with Captain Falcon, Olimar, and the Kongs, who battle through the factory and bust through a wall to where we left Samus and Pikachu. Ganondorf orders the Robs to unleash all the bombs, but the ancient minister has had a change of heart. It's no use though. Ganondorf activates a remote control and causes the Robs to turn on their leader. The ancient minister's robes burn, revealing him to be Rob! Rob issues a plea to his comrades, who are unable to resist Ganondorf's orders. Captain Falcon leads the crew out of the factory and onto the Blue Falcon, but they're attacked by Meta Ridley. Samus and Pikachu can't catch a break from this guy, but we defeat him. The Blue Falcon escapes the island as the Subspace Bomb consumes it. Our mini heroes converge for a final attack on the Subspace Army. The Subspace gunship emerges from the portal, firing a laser that opens even more subspace portals. We see Ganondorf and Bowser issuing commands from the ship, and they fire on the Halberd as our heroes approach. Ganondorf blows it right up, but the Halberd was a distraction. In their many nimbler vehicles, our heroes evade fire as Kirby soars through on a Dragoon to destroy the gunship. Everyone arrives in subspace, where we fight through even more of the army. Remember Ganondorf's sly smile from earlier? He now enacts his double cross, blasting Bowser with a dark cannon. He greets the Master Hand, but discovers it to be controlled by chains of light. These link to Taboo, who's been manipulating everything this entire time. Ganondorf launches an attack, which is easily repelled, as is the Master Hand. All our heroes arrive on the scene as Taboo unfurls his wings and unleashes his off waves. This devastating attack turns all our heroes to trophies. Taboo swaddles himself in fragments of our world as all hope is lost. But do you remember when we remembered to remember the badges that King Dedede stuck on his trophy collection? Well, our little minds are absolutely blown as they revive Ness and Luigi. The two get King Dedede back on his feet and they strike out to save the day. We battle through subspace, collecting the trophies of our fallen comrades, eventually returning to where Taboo rests. There we revive and fight Bowser, who joins our cause after realizing Taboo's subterfuge. The level ends and we see Kirby. He's revived by his own DDD badge that he swallowed after it was knocked off of Zelda earlier. As Kirby, we explore subspace, collecting even more trophies and eventually reuniting with our other surviving friends. Zelda and Link revive Ganondorf and bring him to the cause. We finally get Wario on our side as well. With all our fighters collected and revived, we embark on the Subspace Emissary's final challenge, the Great Maze. This unprecedentedly long and difficult sequence sees us battle through the fragments of our world to reach Taboo, and in all honesty, we never beat it. It takes about 2 hours to get through the maze if you're a competent player, and it involves rebattling every boss in the game. Even worse, we never figured out that you could pause to see a map of the maze, and even if we had, it probably wouldn't have done us much good. 8-year-olds aren't that smart. But I'm gonna lie and finish this story, because that's what we both would want. After clearing the Great Maze, we enter an ominously tentacled door to find Taboo. He seizes his wings to strike again when Sonic appears, shattering his wings and rendering him vulnerable to our attacks. The fight with Taboo is just as difficult as the maze itself. He has a one-hit KO move that we never figure out how to dodge. We don't know that you can dodge at all in this game. But despite all odds, we prevail, and as Taboo's form shatters, subspace withdraws, and our world's fragments are returned. As Brawl's score swells, our heroes watch the horizon of their saved world. The story succeeds in so many areas where we never even asked it to try. Does it deserve all the praises of our retrospection? Probably not. But there's no denying how it once made us feel. Thanks for playing.